Hey guys, it's Kay from KS Anonymous, and I am back today with another episode of r/TreeLaw. Neighboring lot cut down my mom's tree, posting on my mom's behalf. The lot next to her house in Ohio is now owned by a builder. They had a contracted tree service out to clear some trees on said lot. He was evidently confused as to the property line and chopped down a very large maple completely on my mom's property. It was about 6 foot in diameter. Mind you, my mom evidently noticed this happening and ran out to stop them. They largely dismissed/ignored her and cut it down anyway. I advised her to get the tree appraised by an arborist, but I guess the first one she called came out, then said he couldn't appraise it, then wanted $250 just for coming out there. The second one wanted $4,000 to appraise it. Any of this sound normal? I live in Texas, not sure if I should try calling someone up there myself. Now, when I saw this one, I thought that was quite odd that someone would want $250 for coming out and not actually doing the job that they were hired to come do, unless if they made it clear that it would be like a consult or something. But $250 for someone to come and be like, oh yeah, sorry, I can't appraise your tree. That's kind of ridiculous. And then someone wanted $4,000 to... Look, I've never hired an arborist, so I don't know if that's normal, but I personally would be astonished to find out that it would be $4,000 for someone to look at my tree and tell me how much it's worth. I feel like that's a little excessive. Replace an existing fence and worker cut my tree. I had an existing cedar fence that was falling apart, so I got a company to come replace it. I have some large trees around the property and a couple of younger ones. This one smaller tree, about 12 to 15 feet, was leaning on the old fence, but you can easily move it around and probably need some support on its trunk. The trunk was about 2 feet from the fence, so it wasn't really in the way or anything. I come out while the guy is installing the fence and notice he cut my tree. He cut it to a dumb 4-foot stump. I'm like, WTF did you do? Why? He said the tree is leaning and would interfere with the fence. I told my husband and he's like, meh, whatever. I don't like that tree that much anyways. He is not one to seek conflict. I was mad and annoyed that he wouldn't even ask and assume it was okay to do so. My husband, on the other hand, just asked him to remove the whole thing. Why would we want a stupid short stump? It's been about a week and I'm still annoyed and I feel like we should do something about it. I figured this sub might be helpful. I'm thinking about getting compensation. Is this something I'd be entitled to in this case? You could maybe complain to the company about lack of communication. If the tree had a bad lean, then it probably should have been removed anyway. If anything, they probably did you a favor by removing it now instead of letting it grow and become a problem. A larger leaning tree over a fence is much more expensive to remove than just letting them clear space to do their work and build a fence. Do you have any pics before it was removed? There was a fence there already and it was not an issue. The tree was young and skinny and it just needed some support so it wouldn't lean towards the fence. I'll look for a picture. Bracing and cabling could definitely be done to correct and support the weight and growth of the tree. It might be worth trying to get the company to pay for a replacement. It's not cool cutting out a tree without at least asking and coming up with a plan. Yes, the leaning was the result of a recent storm and the tree being young and skinny. It had some bracing and stakes before, but looks like something happened during the storm, and the landscaper was gonna fix it in addition to the rest of the yard after the fence install. Where are you? What kind of tree? What caused the lean? Personal opinion, at 12 to 15 feet, it is a little late to try and correct the lean or even support it. Unless it is a rare or valuable tree, it is better culled from the forest. New Hampshire. It was a smoke tree. The tree had some support, but it got damaged with a storm recently. Landscaper was supposed to come after fence guy to fix that, among other things. I'm an arborist. I entirely disagree with the comment you replied to. A 12-foot tree can definitely still be guided a different way. You have every right to be upset. I certainly would be. Unless your husband gave explicit permission, this is entirely the fault of the fence guys, and I would request a new tree from them. 2 things. I'm confused as to who on earth would take it upon themselves to cut down a tree without talking to the homeowner. I don't see how that makes any sense. I just don't get that. And I also don't know what a smoke tree is. Is that a common tree? Delivery truck destroyed historic tree. Hello, TreeLaw. A friend said you may be able to help with my situation. The neighbors across the alley had a new washer and dryer delivered from a large national company, and the driver took out a full third of an 80-year-old apricot tree that is about 25 feet tall. I live in a historic district, and the tree is likely considered a protected tree. Since my neighbor was the one who had the delivery, she kindly called and said an insurance adjuster would be coming out from Big Store. However, the alleyway the tree blocked was also blocked on the other side of the alley due to road construction that is still ongoing. Since it blocked the whole alleyway, the highway department had it moved into my driveway, which sucked because I had to cut the tree up to make sure the sidewalk was clear. This thing must have been 500 pounds. It took a huge front loader to move it off my fence. I am worried that the tree will be off balance and likely to take out my shed and chicken coop if a windstorm comes up. I took pictures before everything got moved. Any advice on how to proceed? Questions. Did the adjuster get to see the tree before the highway people had to have it cut back for their gear? This might be used to shift blame off of Big Store and onto you or the highway people, because now it would be in question whose damage was the killing damage. Did you get any kind of formal certified letter that you would need to cut your tree for highway people, or did the city come do it? Do you have proof of the history nature of your land? If no, get it and see with the city if the tree is covered by that. As all advice here, arborists to find out the health of the tree and value of it given the historic nature of your neighborhood, there may be more hoops to go through. While you are getting the arborist, also get a property survey, make sure the tree's on your land. It might be that the tree isn't yours, but the city's. Hello, thanks for following up. Unfortunately, the adjuster had not looked at it. I came out to the yard after a virtual meeting and they had already started moving it. I live in Idaho and the get her done mentality is prevalent, so there was no formal communication from the highway department. Thank you for the advice. I am trying to get a hold of the city arborist now. Good luck. Sorry about your tree. With luck, they can tell you the best way to nurse your tree back to health. And when you say they, you mean the highway people started to hack at your tree? I'd get the name of the company and file for damages with them. Unless, of course, it turns out the tree is the city's and not yours. If you can, do not let anyone haul off any of the tree if the tree is on your property, not even the twigs. If you or anyone you know smokes meat, what you have is very valuable. The smaller the pieces, the more intense the smoke. Do not sell or give away until the insurance and such is settled, and don't talk about it to anyone, especially the neighbors. Well, I didn't know that that was a kind of wood that a lot of people would desire for smoking meat and such, so that's good to know. I'm a bit confused about the story in general just because of how much this tree sounds like it was moved and then cut and all sorts of weird stuff going on, and then of course it got hit by movers. That poor thing has gone through a lot. I don't know what's going on with it. I hope that the city arborist is able to help. I did not know that there was like a designated city arborist. I don't know if that's in particular areas or everywhere. I wonder if we have a city arborist. Neighbor's tree touching my roof. Who's responsible? Depends on your state, but in most states you would be. You can try to talk to them to see if they'll take care of it, but most won't, so you'd be footing the bill. While most ordinances say you don't need to obtain permission to prune a tree in this situation, it's always a good habit to do so. I work for a tree company, and we make the tree owner sign off on an agreement form if we're working for the neighboring property. Thanks for the advice. If it were just a case of some branches over a fence, I'd tackle them myself, but I'm a little more hesitant to climb the roof with my chainsaw. Gets tricky, I guess, when the trees are so big. None of the cuts for house clearance need a chainsaw in this case. All those limbs look small enough for pole tools. Best to have an ISA certified arborist come out to give you an estimate. That's why you hire a bonded tree company to come do it for you. Okay, so my guess is pole tools would be like the normal like cutting shears or whatever that you would have, but like specially mounted on a pole and modified for this is just a guess. I have a mental picture of this in my head. I think I've seen these before, but I'm not sure. I've never messed with any of this stuff at all. Sticky mess from neighbor's oak tree. Dripping sap, sticky stuff, infested. My neighbor has an oak tree and some of the branches hang over my driveway. Unfortunately, my garage doesn't really fit my vehicle, old property, small garage, etc., so I have to park in my driveway. I've noticed over the past couple of years the sap from said tree coats my car in a sticky, disgusting residue. I end up having to wash my car 2 to 3 times a week. I don't have a close relationship with my neighbors. They are elderly and keep to themselves. I don't want to cause financial problems or personal problems, but I've put up with this for some time now. Can I ask them to have the tree checked out, perhaps trimmed? Can I trim what hangs over onto my property? I do have a picture, but I'm not sure how or if I can post. Said this in another comment, but to repeat, barring any state/county/city, etc., ordinances preventing it, you can trim what hangs over your property so long as it doesn't threaten the well-being or integrity of the tree. I'd still talk to your neighbor about it. Hey, that oak tree is dripping goo on my car and the garage doesn't fit it. Do you mind if I trim back the branches on my side of the fence? Goes miles versus, oh yeah, we cut up your tree. What of it? It probably has aphids. They suck from the leaves and essentially pee out sugar, lol. If they have it sprayed with insecticidal soap, it should take care of the problem. Edit. I'd also suggest you call the city to see if it's a city-owned boulevard tree. If so, they may treat it on their dime. Arborist here, you're not spraying that with insecticidal soap. Soil-applied systemic insecticides such as dinotefuran now, or imidacloprid early spring/late fall are your options here. Arborist and forester here. Honestly, I don't work with specimen trees. I'm more of a forest health and tree hazard guy. Our spec tree team sprays safer soap for aphids all the time. I've seen its effectiveness. Why do you say that's not an option? Generally curious. Not an option in this case because of the size of tree and its location. We have a lot of tools in our toolbox when it comes to chemical application. Using the one that best fits the mold while keeping the applicator, public, environment, and tree safe ensures we can correct the problem with the least amount of repercussions. For an insect that feeds on the lower leaf surface, insecticidal soap sprays don't have great efficacy. Yeah, I don't know much about that, but when they're talking about it, I'm just imagining someone, like, washing a tree with some sort of special soap, and it kind of cracks me up. No, not gonna lie. I talked to the neighbor. Basically got the not my problem attitude. He thinks it's sap and says it's all over his car too. Doesn't care if it gets cut down either. Not sure that it's his responsibility if he wants it taken down. However, he is okay with my friend taking a look, so we'll leave that as a good step forward. Honestly, if you go the route of just cutting it down and paying for it yourself, get it in writing that you or the company has permission from him. If he's really that uncaring of it, he might decide to turn around and sue once it's removed, claiming you had no permission. Depending on where you are, the situation, etc., lawsuits for tree damages can range from hardly nothing to holy crap levels, and if he finds out, you don't want to give him even half a leg to stand on when he looks for the payday. I'd never go that far. I'll figure out something on my end before it would come to that. Anyway, that is going to wrap up today's video. I did want to mention, purely because this is the place to mention it, I have my tree in the backyard that is a mulberry tree, and I've told you guys about it before, but now there is... So I've told you about how, like, there's a bunch of, like, leaves and new growth and stuff on it. Well, there's been some flowers appearing, not all over it, just so, like, hanging down near, so, like, it comes from, like, where all the leaves and stuff are coming from, but it hangs down towards the bottom of the trunk and stuff, and it's this, like, orangey red kind of flower that is, like, long, and I don't know what kind of flower it is, and there's, like, a few of them, and they're all on this, like, viney thing. So I'm interested if any of you know what kind of flower that might be and why on earth it's coming from this tree. I don't understand. So if you know, you should let me know, because that would be great. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and drop a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Really quickly, I'd like to thank my patrons. Up on the screen, you should see my face palmers and my crazy case. Thank you all so much for supporting me in that way. If you are interested in becoming a patron, checking out the original links from the posts in this video, or sending me a possible email for possible inclusion in a possible future video, all of that information is in the description box, so be sure to check it out. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!